My name is Gina Ayoola. You can call me Gina Ayoola as well if you wish. I am an engineer, electronics and software development, as I've been introduced. Thank you very much. Before I go any further, I'd like to say a very big thank you to Prince Andrew, and who is also my mom. Thank you, sir, for this platform. I'm super excited to see such a great number of students. That means that you're all hungry, right? You're hungry for success, are you? I can't hear you. Are you? Great stuff. We know that technology is on the surge in Nigeria. Not only Nigeria, but the world. So you have to be fully prepared, because you're not only competing with Nigerians, you're competing with the world. And there's all eyes on Africa, especially Nigeria. And I tell you that. I worked with various companies over the world, across the world, and there's a lot of talks about Nigerians. We're good coders, but are we good engineers? Are we good software developers? It's not just about coding, and as my colleague has said earlier, engineer Julius Tukwala, is about knowing the principles of software development. You need to understand the requirements, right from requirements to actually deployment and what it takes, testing and all of it, and coding. So I'm here to talk about electronic technology in the world today. Well, I'm actually going to really talk more about electronic in Nigeria. So an introduction of that. Electronic technology in Nigeria has had a significant growth. As you all know, I mean, Paystack is one of it, Flutterwave is one of it. Even InterSwitch. I won't talk too much about InterSwitch because they've been way ahead before Paystack. Paystack are like the millennials that came in together and launch a good product. And all eyes are on you. Everybody is interested in a good product. It doesn't matter what, every idea is a good idea. So, can we go to the next one? Talking about electronics, what is electronics? Electronics can be defined as a branch of physics and engineering that deals with the study of electron behavior, the flow and control under different conditions. Now, people, when you talk about electronics, some people understand it, some people don't. Some people get scared of it because it's highly technical. But has everybody got a phone? I presume everybody has a phone. Can you raise up your phone for me? I want everyone, if you have a phone, raise up. If you don't have a phone, then you have no business being here. Can you raise your phone? Or your iPad, or anything that you have, right? So, do you believe that that is electronics? Yes. There's electronics in. Have you got a wristwatch? Can you raise your hand if you have a wristwatch? Right? Oh, you don't know what the time is then. Raise your hand if you have a wristwatch. There is electronics in there. So everything that you have, there is electronics in there. Even the code that you write, electronics is the bedrock of technology. You have like the binaries that stems up from electronics. Machine language stems up from electronics. When I did my electronics degree, and I'm sure that electronics students here will attest to that. For me, I start from C. I use the C language. In fact, I started Pascal. I'm giving my age away now, so. I started with Pascal, then went into C, so then C language. And C language, anybody that understands C language knows that it's not one of the easiest languages to learn. But if you understand and you learn C, you can code, any language that comes about you can do that language. It's easy for you. So Python stems out from C. It's a machine language. It enables you to be able to talk to the chipsets. We use the word talking to the chipsets. And do you know, is there any electronics or engineering students here? Oh, great. So you understand that you're talking to the registers. So you have hardware. Your hardware are your chips. You have all your chips. You've got a CPU, you've got your microcontroller. In some devices, not so many these days, you have like your microprocessor. But in, like some new devices, you have microcontrollers, which means that all the different chipsets are integrated onto one board. You will still have some of that, maybe like the graphic cards and all of those, but microcontrollers makes it more easier, more efficient. It's not time consuming, so it's really efficient in that form. So you see that a lot of new technologies will have them integrated onto a microcontroller. So you have also the AI. Everybody's talking about AI. AI is the new kid on the block, and it's here to stay, and it's going to improve with time. AI is in time when it first started, it was really software driven, but now you're getting AI in Snapdragon. Who knows about Snapdragon? Anybody knows? Right, okay. So it's Samsung it's a microprocessor, right? So they have their microprocessor, they have different things. It could be graphics that they have it integrated into, but there's a microprocessor. Now they are bringing out an AI chipset that is going to be on some of their devices. So which makes it even more efficient and faster. So when you're talking about AI, there's got to be hardware-driven AI, actually software-driven AI, but you would have the hardware on the chip, in the device. So you will be able to now program that AI chipset as it is in the device. So things are really taking a turn now. You have a lot, Nokia is doing it, Sony is doing it, Motorola is doing it, all those chip manufacturers are doing it. So there's going to be a lot of talk about AI in this program, as we've seen earlier. So this growth is driven by various factors, including advancement in technology, increased consumer demand, and government initiatives aimed at boosting the technology sector here in Nigeria. And because I'm talking about Nigeria alone, but obviously around the globe, you're seeing a lot of government grants that are springing up for SMEs, for students. There's the gentleman spoke about the code camp, free code camp, right? Yeah. So that's another, there's so much initiative going on. The engineer talked about the 3.5 million grants or employment. So you guys need to be able to take charge of that and, kind of like get into those kind of like programs, because they're created for you, they're there for you, and you need to actually take cognizance of that. So you've got like the expansion of consumer electronics market in Nigeria, which has experienced a surge in demand for consumer electronics. Can we go to the second slide, please? Okay. So the impact of electronics in technology, we've spoken about electronics is a bedrock of technology. All other areas of technology stems from electronics. I can be a little bit biased about electronics, really, because when we're talking, and I know that some of my colleagues have spoken about, it doesn't matter. if you do not have the experience. I agree to an extent, because there's some areas of technology that you will not be able to actually get into. And I say this, like for example, if you were to get a job that allows you to be able to implement software on a device, if you do not have that experience, if you don't have an engineering background, for example, or you have not learned about that device to know the different areas of that particular company, you will not be able to thrive. So it's not just about learning the code, but also learning the actual products that you're going to be working on. So for example, I mean, I did a lot of projects, a lot of time with Sky in the UK. There's some particular area in Sky that you will not be able to if you're not an engineer, because you will not understand how to actually develop that product. If you have not gone to actually understand how a set-top box works, and you want to work with Multi-Choice Africa, for example, you know, that actually designs and develops devices, the actual set-top box. You can't just come in as a coder. Yes, you can come in as a quality assurance engineer, but you still need to have that understanding of how that product works. Am I speaking to someone? Do you understand? So, talking about the areas that electronics actually serves, you have the e-learning, you have the telecommunication area, and I cited some example like the MTN, Airtel, and etc. You have the manufacturing, which is part assemble. We actually did some part assembly for mobile phones. I've got one of the mobile phones that we actually part assembled. And when I talk about part assemble, we can actually, I think we're getting to that area in Nigeria where we might be able to do that from scratch. But because of the infrastructure, how the infrastructure is in Nigeria, it's a challenge to be able to do it from scratch. So we always use the word of like part assemble, which means that we can't build the chipset, develop the chipset on ground, because it has to be cold, it has to go through modeling, and those take time. They take a lot of electricity. Now, if you're using generator to do this, automatically what happens? What do you think will happen by the time you finish developing it? Can someone tell me? Sorry? So you use the generator if you use the generator throughout, what will happen to the cost of the product? Exactly. So it would be better for you getting it from China anyway, right? So those things, by the time you part assemble what you need to do abroad and you bring those things in and you assemble the rest, you can still have it as made in Nigeria. Does that make sense? Because you're doing the final stage of it. So it's legitimate for you to say made in Nigeria. Am I correct, sir? Yeah? So which is what we did with the mobile phones that we did. We part assembled them, we brought them in, and we assembled the rest, and we could still say made in Nigeria. So robotics and AI, as we know, I don't want to talk too much about it because I think Mr. Femi has done a good job on that. So I'll skip that. Then healthcare. Healthcare is one part that is driving technology. I mean, when I talk about healthcare, I'm super excited about it. AI is doing amazing things. We're currently working on using AI to detect cancer through the eye, using the eye. but it's going to be a type of cancer. It's not just anything. We're also using that to be able to detect diabetes and high blood pressure using AI. So that's something that we have our product, which is the waytelemedicine.com. Can you go to the next slide, please? So I've just put together key areas highlighting electronics technology advancements in Nigeria. Doctor spoke about farming, agriculture. That's number one for me. Then you've got like the smart city. You know, Yaba is one of the major things. And I give you an example. I had my phone. My phone got smashed. It was totally smashed, which actually affected the LCD. So I couldn't, it wasn't coming on or anything. And I tried to do what I could with it. So one of my staff said, there, we'll go to World. We got to World at 7 p.m. and these guys were locking up. In fact, I was astounded to what they could do. The guy was standing on the road and he opened my phone and he did everything on the spot. And I've even, when it came with this iPhone, when it came with the screen was not as good as this. I was amazed. I was amazed. On the spot, he was doing everything. He said, "Ma'am, don't worry, obviously, he charged me according to, I was ready to pay." You know, so I was quite excited. I took his number and I said, "We're going to do stuff." But they told me, I said, "This is like computer systems." They said, "Yeah, this is the computer village of Ibadan." I said, "Okay." You know, so stuff can happen. People are doing stuff. People are hungry. People are, they need to be encouraged. And we're here to encourage them. You can see what Prince Andrew has done. You know? I mean, if he was to contest for presidency in the next election, probably. You know, so great job, sir. And that's telemedicine for the healthcare. We've got the AI there. And yeah, mobile technology and robotics. So these are the various areas. There's still much more. There's manufacturing, but obviously I couldn't fit any of that. There's fintech, right? Fintech is major. I've spoken about that with Paystack, Flutterwave. And please don't get intimidated at all. Because they're there, does not mean you cannot have your own. When I do things, I don't look at my left or my right. I just go on. Like I was telling, I think it was my sister's, I was telling her when we were outside, I said, from the moment I get into this country, I start to see opportunity. Right from when I come out of the plane, I start to, and the opportunities are endless. Endless. There's still a lot more to be done. Don't think that because someone has done it, you cannot do it. Please, go ahead. Yours might even be better. Right? Yours might be better. And as well, you collaborate, you bring in employment, which is what we do. You know, we're not looking at just working with, in fact, to be honest with you, I don't work with him. I don't, maybe one, but I don't really work with, you know, other parts of the world, aside the UK and Nigeria. And that's because I know that the skills are there. You just have to also kind of like embrace work ethics. That's something that you need to really, really work on. If you need to be at work, have a meeting at 9 o'clock, you need to ensure that you get there. My engineer, I think his engineer Julius, was talking about a methodology called Agile methodology. Agile does stand up. I'm sure that a lot of you have heard about stand up. Yeah? Scrum? Okay. So they do stand up, and some organizations will ask you that their stand up is at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. In my organization, we have a lot of remote workers because we have workers from around the world. And when we say 11, it is 11. It is 10, it is 10. Now, if you do not turn up for stand-up, and you come in even during the day, you're maxed down as like you did not come to work. And you will not get paid for that day. If it goes on, then you get into warning. So, you need to understand that because most of you are going to go ahead and work in bigger organizations. We've had people that have done internship with us that's gone to work in Deloitte, Google. The last person who did Deloitte and then transitioned to Google. And she was headhunted. She was a computer science student. She did her internship during the pandemic. And lots more like that. So you need to understand how organizations work. Because if you need to compete, you're not competing only with Nigerians, you're competing with world-class companies. Is that understood? Great. Can I have the next slide, please? So we said there's hardware-driven AI. I think I've spoken so much about that. Qualcomm is a very big chipset company. It's Japanese, and they are always constantly looking for talents. Constantly looking for talents. In fact, I got them about 4 people that I recommended for the company in the last year. And those people actually came from Nigeria. They came to study in the UK. They wanted internship. And they called if I had any referrals, I was able to refer them. And they're doing amazingly well. So even if you're not an engineer, I tend to favor more engineers or computer science students, but if you have the skills and you're able to demonstrate those skills, I'll give you the platform to thrive. But it's not a plaything. I'm not taking you on because I want to fill the space. I have a product to deliver. I have clients waiting. So I expect you to come in and do the job. Okay? So we're talking about Snapdragon. There's the smart home. This is a chipset that is also, I spoke about in like maybe about 5 or 10 years, a lot of AI is actually software driven. But now, even like your Alexa, they are going to be having chipsets just to make it more efficient. They're having it hardware driven. This hardware that is there, which is the chipset, you still have to program those chipsets to get it to work, to do what you need it to do. So on its own, it's not doing anything. It's just laying fallow. You have to talk to it to be able to do what it needs to do. Can you go to the next page, please? So some of the benefits of electronics in Nigeria, as you all know, it's rocket science, economic growth, it strengthens the currency. So what I want you to know is that you're an asset to the country. You're an asset to your economic growth. You're young. When I was your age, I was like, now we've got a lot of women that are doing engineering. When I started, if I can give you like a short story about when I started. When I started, my lecturer, I was a digital electronics lecturer. I'm not sure if he's still alive now, but if he is, I hope he is and he can hear me. We're 3 students and this I did my university in the UK. We're 3 students out of a class of 150. And he walked up, I came into the lecture room. And he said, there were other people coming behind me, and he said, you. And I looked back because I didn't think that he was talking to me. So I looked back, and he said, no, you. What are you doing in my course? And I'm like, I didn't understand what he was saying. He said, I don't know why you women are here. And I made up my mind that I was going to be the best student he has ever seen. And in his digital electronics, I was #1. Because I told myself that there's no way, he's not going to, obviously when I left there, I cried, I went to my tutor, and he said I shouldn't worry that he's like that, right? So you've got the opportunity now, there's a lot of women, there's a lot of opportunities, you know, encouragement for women in engineering. There wasn't at the time. I made sure that before I finished my course, any internship, even if they did not pay me, I would raise my hand and I would surrender myself. That I want to do the work. Don't pay me, don't worry. I just wanted the skills. So that before my results came out, I was headhunted by Sony Electronics as a software and electronics engineer. In fact, I built the first analog to digital TV, and it's still in my house. So, you know, the opportunity is there for you all. I want you to grab that opportunity, make use of the resources that are there. You know, through Prince Andrew, I'm able to take in a number of internships and be able to train you up so that by the time you graduate, I mean, we do some with UI. In fact, some of your students has come to us and are working in InterSwitch as I speak. You know, but we're ready to actually help you to be able to get to the next level. Next one, please. Yeah, so that's me. If you need to contact me, that's my email address and my phone number. Thank you.
Wow. I'm dumbfounded. Please put your hands together again.